Hey everybody, this is Dr. Jim here. The purpose of this video here is to just talk you through the syllabus quickly as if it were the first day of class, point out some things that I might sort of highlight. There isn't anything you can get out of this, I suppose, by not just reading it, but I'm used to doing this in front of a classroom, so I'm going to talk my way through it here. Well, this is me. That's my office, although this particular summer I'm not spending a lot of time on campus. That's my office phone number. Email is going to be the way to get a hold of me. Obviously, I'm not holding office hours in an online course, but emailing me again is the best way to get a hold of me. There is a help board on the discussion module. In the past, it hasn't been used that much, and then I get out of the habit of checking it. And sometimes messages have sat there for a couple of days, but I decided to leave it there. It's good to ask questions in public, but if it's something urgent, I would just get a hold of me via email. Or if you do post a question there and I haven't gotten to it in an hour or so, just email me and nudge me and I'll go answer it there. There are two very useful documents under the Content tab on the D2L site. One of them is a day-by-day schedule, what you need to be doing today in a text form, day by day. There's another thing for visual folks. There's a calendar. Mine starts like this when I put the course together, but there's sort of an iCal thing there. It doesn't have a lot of details on it, but it sort of gives you an overview of what's going on. We have two primary texts for the course here. One of them is called Chemistry in Context. We do mainly the chemistry and do elsewhere for the context. And then our discussion book, which is Field Notes from a Catastrophe. Notice how I have abbreviations for these. CIC for Chemistry in Context, FNC for Field Notes for a Catastrophe. There's also some PDF readings out there to look through. One of them, ECS, is Environmental Chemistry and Society. There's a couple readings from that, and one from a meteorology book. You'll also want a cheap scientific calculator. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, but it doesn't need to be a $100 TI-80, but it needs to handle numbers and scientific notation because we work with big numbers and small numbers. This is the stuff that goes into your grade, a couple of quizzes, a couple of tests, a final essay, which is really the essay part of the final exam when this is a regular course online, some random stuff, a couple of written assignments. One of those is a personal carbon inventory. One of them is an organization, an essay on a climate organization, and then discussion is, you know, almost a third of the course, maybe 30% of the course. There's something going on for discussion every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, and every Thursday. Really, Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday, and Thursday to Friday. Really, four increments a week, 2 discussions in 2 parts. That's coming here down the line. Notice there's no homework grade, but doing the homework is how you learn the content material. If you work through the homework assignments, the quizzes and tests aren't going to be very hard. In fact, one of the things you might want to do is print the homework assignment out and actually do it while you're working through the video lesson, and just because the homework problems follow the video lessons right as it goes. If you can do the questions in the homework, you'll do fine in the course. That's how it is. There are keys online for them. They're handwritten keys. There's probably still a mistake or two in some of them. I've been kind of cleaning them up as I go along. It's hard to get them perfect. Just email. If you're doing the same thing over and over and getting the same answer, it's probably a mistake, although I think they're almost there. I do have typewritten versions that I had a student do for me last spring, and I might post those in parallel, but I just decided I don't like them as much. So let me know. Here's, you know, the quizzes and the exams and some details about that, but there's a detailed calendar to follow there, so I won't go into a lot of that at this point. What are we doing here? Mainly we're trying to understand global climate change and how the climate system works. So there's a knowledge piece. These refer to the now outdated university learning goals. I still like them better. There's a perspective here, okay, piece 2 that says, you know, we're kind of using up the planet. Not only are we using up the resources, we're using up the sinks to dump the places where we produce byproducts of those resources. I'd like to point out this is a sustainability issue. We talked about sustainability in this class one time in person, and the students were saying we should have a sustainability course here, and I was really shocked to think, wow, I haven't been clear enough to point out that this is a sustainability issue, and I will point that out as we go along. The perspective in this is that, this is an issue you folks are going to have to deal with. A lot of people think that this one has gone away because we had a cold winter last winter, and that's far from true. But we'll save that for when the course takes place. Embedded in this content piece is that we're going to do some critical thinking. How do you, as non-climate scientists, assess the truth on this, and how do you figure this out? And part of that is learning how to sort through the information and misinformation that people put on places like the internet, and you'll do an explicitly designed assignment on that. One of the other things we'll talk about here under the guise of individual and social responsibility is that this is a global equity issue. Ultimately, when we talk about how to deal with this, we need to start asking questions like, what's fair? How much can they pollute? How much can we pollute? And they're very challenging questions that go well beyond what a chemist normally talks about. You'll find, however, that while this is an interdisciplinary issue, the global warming hypothesis was proposed by a chemist, and essentially it gets down to if we change the chemical composition of the global atmosphere, is it going to affect global climate? So chemistry is really rooted in these things. Here's some specifics about the things that I would like you to learn here. Okay, if you're paying attention here, you'll realize that I just spliced in because there was one important thing about the lecture outline here that I wanted to say, and that is the course does come in two parts. Units 1 and 2 here are really some basic chemistry and some stuff about the atmosphere and some stuff about radiation, which is the economy of the climate, if you will, the currency of the economy that is the climate. And the second half, really, all falling under Roman numerals 3 and 4, is really the part about climate change. And the reason I sort of say this is that sometimes people get in the midst of 1 and 2 here and we're redoing a bunch of high school chemistry and they say, whoa, wait a second, I thought this was a course on climate change. It is. We're just going to spend some time developing some vocabulary and some techniques and some ways of looking at the important things such that when we get to the home stretch here, we're going to be able to put the climate change piece back together pretty quick. Let me talk a little bit more in detail about the discussion. Okay, we're going to have discussions, and there's going to be something to do. I mean, they run every other day, the discussion part, but essentially, Monday is sort of a breather day to start reading. Tuesday, you have to do content posts. Wednesday, you have to do the discussion part. Okay, repeat again. Read sometime in the middle of the week. Thursday, content post. Friday, discussion post. What are the content posts? You need to tell me what the main idea of the reading is and answer a question about it that basically says, indeed, Dr. Jim, I did the reading, or I had to dig through the reading and get the content post in time. And I think you'll find that they're easy to answer if you just do the reading. And the readings are 10, 15 pages, and it's a very readable book. The discussion threads is that I poke you with some questions, and there's like a little chat room where you go in and respond to those questions and then respond to your folks' responses. And it's kind of fun. I've never had to go in and tell anybody to be respectful, and that's good. And this is a controversial issue, and it's been a very constructive dialogue. If anybody has been poking anybody through the first couple iterations of this course, it's probably me, just because I like to get the conversation going. This is all respectful stuff, however. The deal is each one of these is worth 10 points, 70 points total. That's that's how we go. I wanted to say a couple of things about the book. The book is this book called Field Notes from a Catastrophe. It's a journalistic account of global climate change. This woman, Elizabeth Colbert, goes out and talks to the people that are involved, not only in doing the science, but also in the politics and some of the other things. And I think for those of you that are in the human sciences or in the humanities or in the School of Business, everything outside Phillips Hall is a people business. I think it's really a good way to sort of see that issue and learn about it from the people that are doing it. And that's why I chose the text. It's not an objective text. It says catastrophe in the title, but I do think it presents pretty decent information. Here are the topics we will read for discussion. Note that we skip chapter 6. So when we get to discussion number 5, that's on chapter number 7. Beware of that. It usually catches a few people off, and of course this is a couple weeks before you do it. With a little luck, I'll remind you. But that's the overview of the syllabus. Good luck, and look forward to, I would say, seeing you, but I guess I should say interacting with you over the course of the summer.